Good evening. My name is Terrence White, and I will be doing my presentation on the Achievement Gap Action Plan. The reason I chose this topic is because this is a major mission of mine and a big part why I got into education, not only just to teach science, but to do my contribution to try to decrease the achievement gap. All right, here's brief little introduction for you. As I stated, I am a seventh grade science teacher at Still Middle School in Aurora, Illinois. The current demographics of our school is it's 48% white, 29% Asian, 10% Hispanic, 8% black, and 5% biracial. Some demographic trends over the last 5 years, as you will see, all of my data that I have given is over the last 5 years. The black population has remained steady. The white population has decreased by 9%, and the Asian population has decreased by 7%. And the data that I will be using is ISAT data because it is from 2010 to 2014. The reason I'm not using part data is because there's not enough data to suggest a trend. So here is, after looking at my data, all subgroups scores decrease, and this is a possible implementation of the Common Core curriculum. The thing that's interesting about my data is that the black students get a dramatic decline over the last 5 years. So a brief little introduction for you of where we're going in this. All right. So after looking at the data, I was shocked at how much there is an achievement gap. And the biggest thing that I try to tell my teachers in my building is that the achievement gap does exist. They say that, oh, why are we talking about this? This is stupid. That's all we talk about. And after looking at the data and the data I'm going to discuss with you, it does exist and it's scary. My action plan is broken down into 6 parts. The first thing we're going to do is identify the students from 5th grade. And then we have to do a data collaboration day. So I'll explain that more in detail. We're going to do a student survey, a parent survey, progress monitoring, and the intangibles. Tangibles are basically the little things that play a huge difference in the action plan breakdown. So the first part of our action plan is to identify students from the 5th grade. And so how we do this is having all the teachers from 6th grade meet with the 5th grade teachers. Currently at our school, only a couple 6th grade teachers and the counselors meet with the 5th grade teachers. And if you are not part of this team, you basically don't know anything about your students till around the first week of the school year. And by that time, you are playing defense and you're trying to figure out what you need to do to address that student's needs for the year. By identifying the students in 5th grade, you can point out the bottom 20% of your students who are at risk. By doing this, again, you can do this right away, point them out 5th grade, all teachers are involved. All teachers will have a head start on what students to look out for the following year. And the school and the teachers can have the entire summer to plan for at-risk students. And the most important thing is everyone is involved in the planning process. Not a couple teachers, not just a counseling team. Administration, counseling team, and all 6th grade teachers for that year have to be involved in this process. Currently in our school, only a couple people are in the process and they filter down the information. And that sometimes can be lost in translation. The next step after we identify the students is the 5th and 6th grade teachers have to compare curriculums, a scope and sequence of what they do throughout the year. This is a data collaboration day. And by doing this, comparing 5th grade teachers, okay, we've taught this, 6th grade teachers, okay, we are going to teach this. They will know what the students should know by being incoming 6th graders. Because it's already hard enough making a transition from elementary to middle school. By having this collaboration day, teachers can have a conversation and help the transition go smoothly for parents and the students who are transitioning. By looking at a scope and sequence, you can look at the possible gaps that are happening that could happen in between a 5th and 6th grade. Since we don't have these conversations, we are guessing and we are doing hearsay from different teachers. Okay, they've taught this in 5th grade. But if we all sat down on the same page and laid it out all on the table, we can look at those possible gaps. This could take a couple days, but if this take a couple days, this could go a long way for identifying the at-risk students. So a couple days will be of hard work, and really could be some arguments, could be some good and the bad, but at the end of the day, it is all about identifying the gaps. And that's one way we can start closing that achievement gap. We have to have that conversation. The next part of this is the student survey. We have to have students involved with this. Talk to the students. Hey, how do you feel about math and reading? How do you feel about it? First step is that at-risk students should have a role in the planning process. We always we talk to the counselor, we talk to the administration, we talk to past teachers, but we rarely ask the students how they feel about school. Especially for at-risk students, middle school is a point where they go from school is fun to I'm starting to really dislike school. And that could be detrimental by the time they get to high school. You give the students a survey about their perceptions on reading and math. How do they feel about it? It can be a very simple survey and tell them to be completely honest. Then you ask them what are their strengths and weaknesses in reading and math. What do they feel that they're good at, and what do they they struggle with? Okay, this survey can really help teachers and their students' views on reading and math. If you know you have some at-risk students who do not like reading or math, we can catch those students and alter the way we would teach curriculum to these students to get them to really like math. Think about the times where you've sat in a class where you really didn't like. Are you going to be as engaged in it? As humans, are we going to be engaged in anything that we don't like? Student survey is a good way to tell, hey, we are not engaged. I don't like math. I hate reading. This is our opportunity to catch the students, and if we know how they feel, we can catch them at the beginning and not be defensive and reactive. Proactive versus reactive. That's kind of the theme with my steps of this presentation and my action plan. Okay, next, you have to involve the parents. Okay, obviously, the parents have to agree on this, and they should be involved in the process. Chances are that parents of at-risk students have a very negative perception towards school. This could be because their child has always been at risk and always getting negative phone calls from the administrators or for teachers. And if you keep hearing things negative, eventually you're going to start tuning them out. This also could be led to the parents' education level, possible education level. And parents may have had a bad experience with school. And this tends to be the case with the African American population. I know personally, I felt this way with my family. My family didn't have a good experience with school, so they avoided the school and they weren't involved in my education. So this is good to get the parents positive. Be personable, be positive. First day before even the school year start, use a phone call, email, or even if a home visit, you do whatever it takes to create a positive rapport with the parents. What I mean by a positive rapport is really try to get those parents to feel welcome. Welcome to Still Middle School. Welcome to my middle school. We are a team. We are going to try to make your child better. Positive, positive. This is not the time to talk about IEPs or 504s. This is the time to talk to the parents and build that relationship. If you build a positive relationship, the parents will be there for you in the long run. It's important to involve the parents. Next, as we are involving the students, we've involved the parents, we've talked about collaboration with other teachers. We develop about this. We have to monitor this and make sure all of these steps are working. Currently in our building, we progress monitor every 9 weeks. I don't think that's enough right now. With the regular students, 9 weeks is enough. But with our at-risk student, our bottom 20%, mainly our African American students, we have to do it every other week. It is critical that we do that. Strategic reading teachers and interventionists have to collaborate with other teachers in the building. Right now, the strategic reading teachers and interventionists really just kind of stay to themselves. They do their things outside the classroom, but they don't talk to the English and language arts and the math teachers. And to continue with the intervention classes, In our building, we have a strategic reading class where the students take this strategic reading class instead of a elective class. And I sometimes wonder if that's the best method because you're forcing the kid out of foods, out of a life skill that they could be doing to take the strategic reading class. So that's a very debatable topic. And also, we have a class called Math Plus. They pull them out of social studies to try to get the students to work to supplement those math skills that they're doing in their math class. Our interventionist is working better with our math teachers, but the strategic reading teachers need to open up to everybody about what they're doing, the things we can do to close this gap. All right, the intangibles, the things that really, really matter. We've talked about the academics. We've talked about parent involvement, student involvement, progress monitoring. We talked about all of these steps, the little things that matter. We have to make sure there's a mentoring program with high school kids. We talked about mentoring programs with teachers to students. Students get sick of hearing their teachers talk. You have to be better. You have to be better. But they hear it from kids who are in high school, who are close to their age, who have been through what they're going through right now. Students listen more. So we create a mentoring program with high school kids who are currently in high school, who are doing their struggle. They will listen more. Another experience that at-risk students gravitate towards each other. So they could drag each other down. So it's important to have positive mentors in your experience. Typically in African American neighborhoods, that if you are in a neighborhood that is very, very poor, that you don't have anybody positive who can lift you out of your situation. At-risk students should be mentored by people who were maybe one time at risk and have risen out of their current situation. That's why I'm a teacher, because I was an at-risk student at one time, but I always had positive people in my life who told me that I could do better. And that's why I'm in education, because to close this achievement gap. So these intangibles matter. All of it together will help. Why? Why do we care about the achievement gap? In 2014, 69% of Black students graduated from high school. That is a disgrace. And Black children born to a high school dropout were 50% more likely to see that parent go to jail. That is sad. Because if we go back to the previous slide, if we take a look, mentoring. If they don't have a positive mentor at home because their parents dropped out, we have to create that in our schools to really close the gap. Confidence breeds better students in school. If they feel confident, they will do better in school. If they don't feel that they can school, eventually they are going to quit at the age of 16. So it is important that we catch these students at the middle school before they go to high school. It is absolutely critical. Another thing that has to happen is teachers have to accept the fact that the gap exists. If we keep ignoring it, the gap will never go down. I have teachers in my building who believe that, oh, we are sick of talking about the gap. What about the white middle class students? What about these students? The gap exists and we have to address it. And finally, and last but not least, our students deserve our best. And that's why I am in education, because they absolutely deserve our best effort. I hope you've enjoyed my presentation. Thank you all for listening. Have a great night and enjoy the warm weather.